So here's a story that was big news the other day. The U.S. Virgin Islands is basically suing the bank J.P. Morgan Chase and claiming they helped Jeffrey Epstein traffic young girls. Wow. So you got the Virgin Islands going after J.P. Morgan Chase. So here's what they say. The planned deposition of J.P. Morgan Chase CEO Jamie Dimon, May 26, in a lawsuit brought by the U.S. Virgin Islands alleging the bank aided notorious sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein, marked a milestone in the complicated litigation. The case, filed in Manhattan federal court, makes sweeping claims with the U.S. territory pitted against the biggest bank in America. At the center of the case is notorious sexual predator and financier Jeffrey Epstein after his arrest in 2019. The full extent of Jeffrey Epstein's activities became widely known. He built a reputation for his lavish lifestyle as a financier for the world's elite, jetting around the world and rubbing elbows with the likes of Donald Trump and Britain's Prince Andrew. The U.S. Virgin Islands suit alleges J.P. Morgan was complicit in bankrolling the predator's activities. The case alleges that employees of the bank found Epstein's actions suspicious on several occasions and showed that Epstein had close and easy access to top executives, despite his 2008 guilty plea to soliciting prostitution from a teenage girl. In other words, Jamie Dimon and other executives and elites at J.P. Morgan Chase, at the very least, were suspicious of what Jeffrey Epstein was doing, but more likely knew what he was doing and didn't care, and helped facilitate it. That's the argument being made by the U.S. Virgin Islands. Epstein died 3 years ago while awaiting trial on federal sex trafficking charges in Manhattan. His former girlfriend, Ghislaine Maxwell, is currently serving out a 20-year sentence for her own role in the sex trafficking scheme. She was found guilty of enticing and transporting teenage girls to be abused sexually by Epstein. And then they go on to say, here's what you need to know about the case. Now, what's interesting is, the deeper you go in this article, this part I found fascinating. So the bank did not say, hey, we're going to play defense on this case. They go, we're going on the offense. Oh, you think we aided Jeffrey Epstein? Bitch, you aided Jeffrey Epstein. Here's what they say. This week, J.P. Morgan previously called the suit against them a masterclass in deflection. They turned the tables on the U.S. Virgin Islands and accused officials there of complicity with Epstein. Epstein could have lived anywhere in the world. He chose the U.S. Virgin Islands, a response filed by the bank says. It alleges Epstein had a relationship with the territory's top-ranking officials and that he allegedly gave them money, favors, and influence in exchange for ignoring and enabling the disturbing sex trafficking scheme. The U.S. Virgin Islands protected Epstein, fostering the perfect conditions for Epstein's criminal conduct to continue undetected, the bank's response says. Rather than stop him, they helped him. Cecil DeJong, the wife of former U.S. Virgin Island Governor John DeJong, was Epstein's primary conduit for spreading money and influence throughout the United States Virgin Island government, according to the bank. Lest there be doubt that Epstein's goal was to gain influence, First Lady DeJong explicitly advised Epstein on how to buy control of the U.S. Virgin Islands political class. The bank claims DeJong tried to tailor the territory's sex offender law to Epstein, even asking for his input on a draft version. Quote, "This is the suggested language. Will it work for you?" DeJong allegedly asked in an email to Epstein. The First Lady helped Epstein coordinate flights, find work and school visas for his victims, and gave him explicit advice on how to curry favor among the island's officials. In exchange, Epstein gave cash and gifts, including thousands of dollars in donations to elected officials, schools, and little leagues, and to DeJong herself, who received $200,000 in 2007 alone, the bank's lawyer wrote. God damn, y'all. God damn. So look, is J.P. Morgan wrong here? No, they're not wrong. In fact, they're right. The specifics are astonishing, and there are many, many details here. Way too specific for this all to be made up, right? So what's the reality of the situation? The reality is simple. They're both right. I have no doubt that J.P. Morgan Chase, maybe Jamie Dimon even himself specifically, and these executives, they knew what Epstein was doing. They didn't care. They helped facilitate it. They worked with him. Also, these particular players in the U.S. Virgin Islands government, I'm sure they were working with Epstein as well. It seems very straightforward to me. And by the way, this is a microcosm of what this entire fight is going to be like moving forward. There's all these people with dirt on others, but it's like, if they bring it up, then there's counterclaims of, oh yeah, you have dirty hands too. And usually, everybody's right. Because this conspiracy ran deep, bro. This conspiracy ran deep. I told you guys, based on all the evidence I've seen, either you had Jeffrey Epstein was part of the U.S. deep state, or much more likely, he was Mossad, which is Israeli intelligence. And they had dirt on everybody. He was the CEO of Elite Sex Crimes Incorporated. And Look, it should come as no surprise to you, this story, for this very simple reason. We've covered stories on this show about how various banks have worked with drug cartels, worked with the Iranian government illegally, worked with ISIS and Al-Qaeda, worked with every single despicable organization, outlet, country, group you can imagine. They've worked with all of them. They've worked with all of them. If you got money, they're there to serve you. So it shouldn't come as a surprise. You just file this under the duh category, but now everybody's garbage is being, spewed out there. And now you know what's going on with everybody. Now, by the way, I feel bad because I'm sure that whoever was specifically involved in the U.S. Virgin Islands government that waged this lawsuit, I'm sure they had good intentions, and I'm sure they specifically were not involved in it. But, you learn the hard way here that some of your predecessors, some other people in the government, they were involved in it. They were. So, but hopefully that doesn't stop some justice from being done. I don't know what they're asking for. I don't know what they want. They're probably not trying to jail Jamie Dimon or other executives. They're probably just asking for monetary rewards, which is a little weird, right? If they're asking for monetary rewards, it's like, okay, this guy did sex crimes and trafficked girls over here. The bank was involved, so the bank needs to pay us, the U.S. Virgin Islands. I don't know. It just, something's off. Something doesn't add up here. It's not logical. It's not like there's not direct connections in the way that we're thinking. So, but this conspiracy runs deep, and every day there's a new story about just how deep it ran. And, God, I want to see everybody that was in his black book, everybody that was on his list, and also I want all of them jailed. A boy can dream. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.